In order to come up with a graph of this reciprocal function, we're going to start by creating a table of values. Let's notice that since this reciprocal function is rational, it does have a restricted domain. We're not allowed to plug in x is equal to 0 because it would cause the output to be undefined. But anything else is okay. So let's plug in x is equal to 1, x is equal to -1, x is equal to 2, x is equal to -2. We'll start by plugging 1 into the function, which is going to be 1 over x, and we plug 1 in for x, and 1 divided by 1 is 1. Let's also plug -1 into the function. Again, 1 over x, and plug -1 in for x, and 1 divided by -1 is -1. Let's go ahead and plot these two ordered pairs that we know must be on the graph of the reciprocal function. And then we'll evaluate the function at 2, which is 1 over x again, plugging 2 into the x value, which gives us an output of 1/2. When we plug in -2 to the 1 over x function, we plug -2 in for x and get -1/2. And now perhaps you can see why it's called the reciprocal function. It's because when we plug in a domain element, what comes out is its reciprocal. The reciprocal of -2 is -1/2. So let's plot these two ordered pairs. The point 2, 1/2 is a point on our graph, and the ordered pair -2, -1/2 is also on the graph. This isn't quite enough to get a feel for the graph, so let's actually see what would happen if we plugged in 1/2 as an input. So when we plug 1/2 into the function is 1 over x, and whatever is indicated inside the functional notation is what's plugged into the x. But in order to divide fractions, we would keep the top, flip the bottom, and change it from divide to multiply. Essentially, we multiply by the reciprocal of the denominator, and then the output is 2. Notice, the output of this function is the reciprocal of the input. And let's use that fact to take a shortcut with this last one and say that the output here must be -2, which is the reciprocal of the input. So let's plot the ordered pairs. 1/2 corresponds to its reciprocal, and -1/2 corresponds to its reciprocal. Now it's starting to take shape a little bit, but what we want to notice with this reciprocal function is that it also has two asymptotes. We have a vertical asymptote at the line x is equal to 0, and we have a horizontal asymptote at the line y is equal to 0. Remember, we said our domain restriction was that x could not be equal to 0, and the way that manifests on the graph is that we actually get a boundary there, or an asymptote, a line that we cannot cross. Now similarly, but for an entirely different reason, we also get a horizontal asymptote at the line y is equal to 0. The graph of this reciprocal function is going to approach the vertical asymptote, pass through these ordered pairs, and then also approach, but never actually touch, that horizontal asymptote. It behaves similarly in the third quadrant, where it's going to approach those two asymptotes, but never actually get there. Now let's add a couple more rows to our table here to see about understanding why the graph never actually reaches y is equal to 0. The reason for that is because the x values out here are approaching infinity. They're getting infinitely large and negative out here. They're getting infinitely large and positive out here. Now, theoretically speaking, if we were to think about a really large number that is positive or a really large number that is negative, and for the sake of this discussion, let's actually put a number in here. Let's say 1,000 or -1,000. When we take the reciprocal of that, we get a very, very small number that's close to 0, but not quite. And on the negative direction, we get another very, very small number, again, close to 0, but never quite getting there. So in this region of our graph is approaching the line y is equal to 0, but it never touches it, over here on the left, and also over here on the right.